Then we're back with Peter Parker having to choose between saving Flash or making Gwen think that he's a coward. And he chooses option C, make a web dummy of himself in the bathroom and then swing off as Spider-Man and pretend that he's kidnapped himself as Peter. This isn't the first time that he's pretended to kidnap himself, but it works again, and Gwen feels guilty for not letting Peter leave. Maybe if she let him leave, he wouldn't have got kidnapped. We're reading Every Spider-Man Ever, and this is the Amazing Spider-Man issue 109. Enter Doctor Strange. Now Spider-Man is able to track down the spider tracer he left on the big guy, but instead his spider sense triggers at something else. An invisible presence of Doctor Strange in his astral form, who uses that same spider sense to guide Spider-Man to his Sanctum Sanctorum. Strange greets our hero and shows him a projection of Flash Thompson held captive. They listen in on the scene and learn that the High Priest in the temple in Vietnam didn't die, but instead fell into an eternal sleep, only to be awoken if the person who put him into the sleep is killed. And they think that Flash was that person. Then the High Priest's daughter, Sha Shan, appears, and even though Flash begs her to tell them the truth about what happened, she refuses, and Flash is destined to be killed at a holy hour. With no time to lose, Spider-Man races to the rescue, aided by Doctor Strange. Meanwhile, locked away until the holy hour in which he'll die, Flash is visited by Sha Shan, who confirms that she knows that he's innocent, but that her father's followers would never believe her if she had said. She reveals that she was the one who carried Flash back to his camp in Vietnam, and that she cannot disobey orders. Then she raises a knife out of her robes, brandishing it at Flash, before she's stopped by her father's men because it's too early to be killing Flash, too early for the ceremony. Meanwhile and elsewhere, Gwen Stacy visits Peter Parker's apartment, hoping to find him there. Her worry is heard by Aunt May, who then worries about what happened to her nephew, what happened to the poor boy, but Gwen yells at her. Peter is not a boy, he's a man. When will May let him go? Then with sudden regret, Gwen apologizes. She had no right to speak to May that way, but Aunt May won't accept the apology. Maybe they were the words that she needed to hear. Back with Flash, and the holy hour is upon him. Time for him to be killed. Fortunately, Doctor Strange is there to magically disappear the axe before it can cut off his head. And Spider-Man is there to untie Flash, web the large chauffeur in the face, flip him to the ground, and keep everyone back as Doctor Strange casts another spell, this time on the High Priest. With his spell cast, the High Priest is reborn. In another room, Flash Thompson finds Sha Shan, who tells him that she wasn't going to use the knife to kill him, but to free him from his bindings. Before they can escape together, Sha hears her father's voice, and the two return to the main chamber. Sha delighted to see that her father is alive. Doctor Strange reveals that he was never dead, just in a magical sleep, and that he was able to reach out to Strange psychically, calling on the Sorcerer Supreme's aid. But now that he's helped, Strange flies away, and Spider-Man is left with Flash, who's excited to tell Gwen Stacy this tale, and the lingering doubts that old Peter Parker will never be able to compete with the likes of Flash Thompson. Thanks for watching, and thanks to my patrons listed here for supporting the channel. Next week, the Incredible Hulk is captured and Daredevil is his lawyer, but until that issue, here's a fun fact about this one. In a San Diego Comic-Con panel in 1997, John Romita describes this story as one of his favourite issues, in part because he came up with the plot, although Stan Lee added Strange, but also because he was a big fan of Terry and the Pirates, and the big chauffeur in this story was based on Big Stoop,